Welcome back to Sports Club fans. We had a game this week that has only happened twice in the history of the NFL. You'll find out a little bit later in the show what that stat is and what happened.
Also coming up a little bit later, we'll tell you how Matt Schaub actually passed the great Peyton Manning and the great John Elway.
I'm intrigued. Also, just a little icebreaker. Since 1990, 4 new teams have been in the playoffs each year. The Falcons are trying to make that possible for another lucky team this year.
Good point. Thanks, buddy, for breaking that one.
No problem.
Let's start with the Thursday night game, the Buffalo at Cleveland game. This game really had a lot of intrigue, just simply because Cleveland was leading in the division and still are.
Still are, yeah.
Spoiler alert. Buffalo lost their starting quarterback, unfortunately. He may be out for a while. And they brought in Tool, which was... Oh.
They brought in a tool?
That was the guy's name.
Was it a wrench?
That was the guy's name. You didn't pay attention?
The Bills.
Yeah, that's right.
Having said that, the Browns, the defense looks really good. And I don't know if they're a legitimate playoff contender. I don't know if they're
none.
But in that division, the Bengals
are now tied with the Browns.
Bengals have looked on and off. Ravens have looked on and off.
Which are now tied.
Steelers have looked completely off. Do you see the Browns giving the Bengals or the Ravens a run for their money or problems down the road?
Problems down the road, yes. Run for their money, no.
Okay.
I think Cleveland actually is going to be one of those pesky teams that you just have to get by in order to prove that you're going to be a playoff team.
Okay.
Because they have a decent defense, and their offense is kind of so-so, to where you actually have to prepare for them a little bit.
Quick question. Where is their quarterback from? What college did he come from? Brian Hoyer. Northwestern.
Oh, well, that's probably why I can't remember him, because we always spanked Northwestern. Baltimore ties Cleveland and actually is now 3-2 in the division with a 26-23 win in Miami, which was a huge win for Baltimore, just simply because they had to get their feet back underneath them because they were just
absolutely. Since the first game, absolutely. After the first game against the Denver Broncos, the defending Super Bowl champions, have not looked like the champions of the world, and they beat a very good Miami team that might be competing for that division crown. I think this was kind of a statement game for that team to show that we're still here, we're still around, and we're going to make the playoffs and cause some ripples.
26-23 is the final score. New Orleans actually wins 26-18, and the Bears actually put up a fight there near the end, but the New Orleans Saints were just too much for them.
Man, I tell you what, Ryan's defense in New Orleans has looked phenomenal the first few weeks of the season. And that offense, we knew what we were going to get with Sean Payton coming back, Drew Brees, Darren Sproles, Robert Meacham, Graham. We knew what we were going to get. We knew we were going to get offensive production. The big question mark was their defense, and they looked terrific for the first few weeks of the season.
I completely agree. They're now 5-0 and atop the NFC South by a whole whopping, I think, 4 games, believe it or not. New England goes down for the first time this year. Loses
one of the only games I got correct.
Close game, 13-6 against Cincinnati. You can blame weather, you can blame scheme, you can blame a whole lot of things. New England's just where I played right.
I believe this is the first game in 53 games that Tom Brady did not throw a touchdown pass.
Yes. And this is the second game this season that he hasn't thrown over 200 yards passing.
And this is to all the people that say they should sit Tom Brady. You're idiots. You're complete idiots.
13-6 final score. Detroit at the Pack at Green Bay.
No. Reggie Bush
goes
down. Big blow for, or not Reggie Bush, pardon me. Calvin Johnson, rather.
Yeah. Calvin Johnson was out. Yeah. So that really hurt their offense, and it showed.
It makes you one-dimensional when you take away probably the greatest wide receiver in the game at the moment. It just makes you a one-dimensional team that makes it a lot easier, even for a bad Green Bay defense, to shut you down.
Green Bay wins 22-9. Kansas City continues its winning ways, and actually in comeback fashion.
Wow.
Tennessee was actually playing them really, really well down the stretch. They just continue to put really good games, especially in the fourth quarter. They started coming back. It was just a really, really impressive win for them.
I mean, it's the adage. It's the adage that Andy Reid has adopted with Alex Smith, and it's what made Alex Smith so successful in San Francisco is game managing, clock management, and a good defense. And I mean, it's such a recipe for winning, and it's going to put you in a position to win every single week in and week out.
second team that was undefeated this weekend, going into this weekend, went down at Seattle. Loses 28-34 in Indy. Huge win for Indianapolis, just simply because they had to show everyone, hey, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We're contenders.
Going into this season,
AFC.
Who would you have said were the two best teams in the NFC?
In the NFC?
Yes, in the NFC.
San Francisco and Seattle.
Who has Indy beat this year?
San Francisco and Seattle.
They're a legitimate team. Andrew Luck is a terrific quarterback. And they haven't, other than that one hiccup year when Peyton Manning was out, they're not going to take a step back. Indy's here to stay, and they might win the South this year. They are looking phenomenal behind.
Who do they have to beat?
Texans, maybe, but we saw what San Francisco did to the Texans, and then we saw what Indy did with San Francisco. So
I'll touch on the Houston game later. Jacksonville at St. Louis, and Jacksonville actually put up 20 points this weekend, but they lost.
They scared the bejesus out of me. I thought they were going to win.
St. Louis wins 34-20. This game was not really that close.
It's a game between two bottom feeders.
It was just awful to watch, to be honest with you.
Atrocious.
Philadelphia wins in New York and actually goes back up on top of the NFC East. 36-21 final score. Giants. Eli Manning has thrown 12 interceptions. 12 through 5 games.
He has the Giants have more turnovers through 5 games than they had all of last year. And Eli Manning is leading the NFL in interceptions.
Tom Coughlin has to be like not being able to sit down because the seat's so hot.
No, they don't have a running game. You know, David Wilson's been on and off. He's had fumble problems, and now he's injured. It's a whole mess of bad up there in New York for both football teams, honestly.
Yeah. Carolina loses. This was a game I picked wrong. Arizona just goes to town 22-6.
One of the only ones that I picked correctly. I'm done on the Cam Newton train. I was on it earlier this season.
He's been awful this season.
I was on it last season, yeah, and he's just shown nothing. I mean, he might have shown 1 or 2 quarters of brilliance this season, but he definitely did not pick up where he left off last year.
And by far the most incredible game this Sunday, Denver at Dallas. This game, and unfortunately for Bryce, Dallas lost, but this game had everything. This game had just everything you needed to watch. You saw Tony Romo break a record, something no Dallas Cowboy has ever done and thrown 500 yards.
Nope.
He had 5 touchdowns.
Nope.
If I had told you, if you come in didn't see the game and I had told you that Tony Romo threw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, you would have thought Dallas won.
Absolutely. You got a little stat. Tony Romo is the only quarterback ever to throw 5 touchdowns in a game twice and lose both games.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, after the game, I looked back and I looked at it in retrospect as a Cowboys fan, and I just said, one word came to mind to me. Typical.
Yeah.
Typical. It doesn't matter how well we play. And I am not. I know a lot of the Cowboy fans and a lot of the sports fans out there in general are putting this loss on Tony Romo.
No.
He threw an inopportune interception, and it was a terrific play on the defender's part to make that
catch. Yes.
He played phenomenal. He played lights out on a night when the defense was not helping us out at all. I will take that week in and week out from Tony Romo. It lies on the defense. The defense now is on track to give up more yards through the air than ever in Cowboy history, and that has to change.
Yeah, I agree. In order for them to be contenders in the East,
in a passing league,
you have to do this. The Houston 49ers team, 49ers just completely demolished Houston.
Ugly.
And
ugly.
Yeah, I mean, Kaepernick continues to show he's back, guys. He's starting to play better. He's starting to do what he needs to do. The stat that I alluded to, how Matt Schaub has actually passed Peyton Manning and John Elway. He passed them for a record that he probably doesn't want right now.
Ooh, what's that?
He now has 4 consecutive games of throwing a pick 6.
Oh. Hey, at least he threw a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's you threw a touchdown. It's to the other team. That should count as a touchdown in your stats because you technically threw a touchdown. I mean, I never understood why interceptions count as incompletions because you didn't incomplete the pass. You completed the pass.
True story.
It's to the other team. But I think you should get more fantasy points for completing a pick 6 than you should a normal touchdown.
Yeah, good luck getting that to go over. In the really, really late Sunday night game, Oakland wins.
This started on like Tuesday morning for people on the East Coast. It was ridiculous how late this started.
Tuesday morning?
That's how
Monday
late.
morning.
Tuesday morning. That's how late it started. They played in China.
11:35 p.m. start in the East Coast.
The NFL is smarter than that. The NFL is smarter than that.
27-17 final score. Oakland actually played really well. Terrell Pryor, guys, he may not be the best quarterback in the league,
but he's their best option.
He is their best option.
He gives them the best chance to win right now, and that's all Oakland needs is a chance. Is a hope, is a purpose to play.
And they're playing well offensively behind them.
They beat a very good offensive San Diego Chargers team.
Yes.
And more power to Terrell Pryor. He's doing it in the NFL.
And in the Monday night game, obviously, I'm not happy about it. Atlanta's garbage right now. They really are. God, and like I was telling Bryce earlier today.
Or just Atlanta Falcons.
Atlanta's Falcons.
Oh, I can talk about that.
The offensive line was basically just
bad.
There was a sieve.
Bad.
Peter Collins is completely awful as a center. The left side of the line was complete. It was a dumpster fire. It was
saloon door.
Oh my God! I don't know how many times I saw our offensive linemen on their stomachs after just trying to block somebody.
Let me ask you this: why not kick that field goal at the end of the second quarter?
I would have kicked the field goal.
You're down by 7 in your home building.
Get points.
I don't understand that.
Points.
I do not understand that.
Final
whatsoever.
score. Actually, the Falcons actually made a comeback. They were actually down by 13 points. They came back. Actually went up by 1 with 1:55 left.
Geno Smith.
The place was electric at this point. Geno Smith just last 2-minute drive that just.
I mean, I hate to call it this early, but
Falcons are done, guys.
It's over.
I'm saying it.
Sorry, Falcons fans. You're not making
it sucks for me, but they're done.
Yeah, 1-4 with the end of the schedule that they have is just brutal. They're not. You're playing for a top 5 pick right now, pretty much.
Almost.
Trade Tony G so he can get a ring. Trade him to Denver. Trade him to KC.
That's it for this week's recap of Week 5. Be sure to tune in for Week 6 preview coming up here right next. We'll talk to you guys later.